Howdy folks! Today we're coming at you with another video about our beloved little pieces of plastic from a galaxy far, far away. Here's a report of a crazy mashup battle incorporating elements of Wizards of the Coast, Star Wars miniatures, Star Wars X-Wing, please come back to me, and Imperial Assault. I knew we were going to have a ton of players, more than 10, so we had to split them up into 2 different but connected games. That way people aren't waiting on eternity for their turn. The setting would be a rebel base on the jungle planet Ord Altum. The rebels lay sweltering in their dugouts when they get a surprise visitor. It's the Galactic Empire, but they aren't here to return a casserole dish. They've come to gut the rebel hideout and seize all that juicy intel encumbering their terminals. I imagined the rebel base to be built in the mouth of an ancient volcano. So these small craters, which I'm casting up in resin, will be used on the X-Wing map for the aerial view of the battlefield. These are silicon molds that were laying around from a moon surface project. They just happen to be exactly what I needed. I was concerned about the resin just kind of pouring down the sides of the mold and pooling at the bottom, so here I'm adding some cabosil to thicken it up. Now it's got a little more of a workable, slushy consistency. You can see that parts of the crater came out thin and cracked, so I decided to put them on a little cardboard base just to fortify the edge and prevent it from cracking and chipping more. After supergluing the craters down to the cardboard, I mix up some milliput to close that gap around the whole bottom and smooth the transition. Now I've primed them all. Now I'm just applying super wet acrylic paint on here just to get the whole thing coated. Got some different color variants here. Now I'm dry brushing on a light color to just pop those details. Alright, so this is the map that the X-Wing battle is going to happen on. You see I've got the rebel ships parked inside the dormant volcano. I've got this scale version of the turrets. Here's the Star Wars miniatures scale version of the rebel fortifications. I got all these plastic trees and stuff just from a thrift store. Here's my idea for the general layout of the ground board. I'm using a lot of Legion figures here, but we will be using Star Wars miniatures rules. I made these jungle patches with chunks of styrofoam, which was not ideal, but after being generous with the flocking to hide the texture, I think they turned out pretty good. I decided to paint up some Death Troopers for this. They're the special insurgents. One player will get command of this squadron of Death Troopers and a Lambda shuttle to land them anywhere on the map. In order to not lose detail, they're not painted in a full black, it's more of kind of an off blue, and I made the body sleeve matte while the armor pieces are shiny. This is the underground section of the board, so pretty much the tunnels that lead from the outside of the volcano inside to the crater. You can see I've made it in duplicate because there will be one on the main board and then one on a secret table that only the rebels can see. I ordered a box of totally random misprinted 3D terrain and found some really good stuff in there actually. So I decided to go with this kind of mushroom tree theme. I sculpted a bunch of my own mushrooms and see added some little tiny ones to the big mushroom. I knew I wanted the Imperial troops to be preceded by some probe droids, so I painted up these guys from Imperial Assault. Out in front here, we've got the jungle, which is infested with little rebel traps. Then we've got the trenches, the side of the volcano. This blank spot is where the underground part will go. And then we've got the inside of the mouth of the volcano where all the rebel transports are parked. Here it is with the underground pieces. So each of the players had their own little document, their own personal data pad, which had information on how they score points and how many points they have available when drafting an army. They also had some secret objectives. So even though you might be on the same team with other rebel players, your personal objective could be a little different. Like maybe you're a rebel extremist, so you're willing to ditch everyone else, get to the transports first to preserve yourself, that sort of thing. Here's the table with the duplicate of the underground map. See, the rebel players are placing all their figures on here, so the Imperials can't tell where anyone is from their side of the board. This is the beginning of the Imperial onslaught.
Okay, I'm gonna attack the turret.
Okay.
Here we've got some TIE fighters approaching, and with them a Lambda shuttle that, unbeknownst to the rebels, has a bunch of Death Troopers inside. Because this is supposed to be really dense jungle, the Imperials actually kind of have a range of sight. So as they move forward closer to the rebels, then rebel soldiers appear. So it looks like there's no one defending the rebel base because they're all hidden right now.
18 plus 6. Let's go. 20.
So the Death Troopers have finally landed. They actually landed right on a trap, which was crazy. The ATSTs have also shown up, and the Imperials just completely overwhelmed the defenses. An Inquisitor leads the Death Troopers into the tunnel system of the rebel base, trying to cut off the transports that are frantically being loaded and taking off. Here's some of the carnage. You can see troopers that fell into pitfalls. Notice this little grid on the X-Wing board. Those grid squares correspond to regions on the ground battle board, so ships can actually fly over and kind of do airstrikes. So the X-Wings are actually a pretty good counter to the ATSTs. The Jedi player has revealed their identity, and Master Ichu faces off with the Inquisitor. That was the Jedi's apprentice who tried to fetch a holocron in the middle of the battle. This noble fishman sacrificed himself and blew up, collapsing a tunnel entrance and taking a bunch of Death Troopers with him. Meanwhile, in the air, the Imperial players have done a really good job suppressing the rebel transports. Some have just barely gotten off the ground and then just get shot down immediately. So it's looking pretty dire for the rebels. At this point, we got stormtroopers flooding in through every tunnel entrance they can. Rebels are getting pinned in between. Master Ichu sacrifices himself, blowing up a big chunk of the underground. We see destroyed transports still sitting on the runway, and a bunch of rebels begin to congregate, waiting for a transport that's actually in the air to circle back around and pick them up.
What are you doing on the ground? Stop them! Stop them! How are they getting away?
The Inquisitor emerges from the tunnels and starts cutting down rebels on the tarmac. Meanwhile, in the air, we got TIE fighters making an attack run on this last transport, which only has 1 HP left.
Hey, we're shooting the X-Wing. Okay, here we go. Has a shield. This is it. That X-Wing's in trouble. 4 hits.
They roll to attack, but it's not enough.
No eyeballs. No eyeballs. 1 hit. Your shield's gone. Your shield. Well, we'll just say. Okay, good.
Miraculously, the transport is loaded and is away. The TIE fighters pursue, but to no avail.
Just one. Well, that's okay. It's okay. You're doing a damage.
Unfortunately, a few stragglers are left behind, but they fight to the bitter end.
Oh no!
We've trampled the rebel defenses, eviscerated their base, and destroyed their transports. Somehow, I can't help but feel we've lost. Too many of them slipped through our grasp. Moff Gilgadar will not be pleased. And there you have it. Stay tuned for more tabletop game reviews. Thanks for watching.